when he said you are not the mind, I think he said the mind rather than your mind.
Mm-hmm.
The recognition or the realization struck like lightning,
Mm.
literally, physically, like light went from above through the body and rocked me.
Um, so I guess I could introduce myself. My name's Brady Sprunger. I'm here with James Waite. Is that how you say Waite? Correct? Yes. Um, and we are talking about consciousness and love and the universe. And we were just getting onto the topic of not knowing, I guess, is what we were chatting about.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, you could continue where we left off. I don't know. Not
yes.
knowing, we don't know, but
Well, we're just, this is a chat, very informal, and I hope intimate. We would want to be intimate.
yeah.
We share um, in the same awareness that actually all of mankind shares,
Mm,
and we're in some way wanting to serve or to love in such a way as to expand that awareness of awareness.
mm. Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. The awareness of awareness, bringing more attention to awareness, because that typically is where real nourishment and wholeness is found, and even a sense of safety or and freedom, right? I just feel like that is it's kind of it's just the source. It's just bringing our attention back to the source. In my experience, that's kind of so is the most rewarding thing, and it has endless kind of like rewards for paying attention to it. I guess if that, yeah, I guess even if you can you pay attention to awareness, or is awareness aware? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's interesting that the mind would think that somehow awareness is an experience,
Mm,
I, something to be um, produced, uh,
yeah. No.
conjured, created.
Are you talking about kind of like the mainstream understanding of?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I've heard that, and it's to me it's baffling. It feels like how could you? I don't understand, honestly. Like it's just the mind producing the sense of awareness. Like you haven't meditated very long, probably. That's my sense of
Well,
things.
I think where for years, one of my sort of things that I chased down when I was very unhappy and looking for the truth was what we'll call being present.
Hmm.
And I was in a esoteric school that's main practice was to be present.
Hmm.
And so, when you were eating and somebody said, please pass the salt, you would be present when you reached for you would make a subtle internal effort to be present as you reached for the salt and handed it to the person and
Hmm.
looked directly at them. And there was this sense of engagement at a level that wasn't mechanical. It felt that way.
Hmm.
That I came to see over many years and many kind of misunderstandings and whatever, that there is a kind of instinctive body mind I am that Nisargadatta refers to
Hmm.
that is, I'll call it sentient, sensual.
Mm,
It involves the five senses and the mind.
mm-hmm,
So let's lump them together and say the six.
mm-hmm,
Um, and that commonly is what we automatically take as paying attention to the body mind and its sensations and vibrations and inclinations and thoughts and feelings and all of that. That is awareness.
mm,
That is what I would call consciousness. Consciousness is body mind movements,
mm, mm,
activity.
mm-hmm,
Awareness, so that consciousness is in the field of experience, one way and another.
mm,
And experience, total separately smelling, touching, tasting, seeing, thinking. All of
mm-hmm,
those things are what we would call an experience. That which is aware of experience, I'll say it's behind the experience, all of that experiencing
mm-hmm,
is a very subtle, because experience and experiencing are all gross in that they're vibrations and measurable uh, dynamics of energy.
right.
Whereas awareness has no qualities. The man with no qualities, well, it doesn't exist because a person is not the vessel, if you will, of awareness, although
Mm,
it's all the all that's in consciousness is a is the content uh, that's is watched in an unattached way
mm,
by and through and with and as awareness.
mm,
So awareness is that which is aware of consciousness.
mm,
And that's just to separate them for understanding, to help appreciate what awareness is, because there's a whole lot of um, deviation in the spiritual world that would have one focusing, as I did for decades, on sentient behavior, on sentient activities,
mm,
and being conscious of them,
uh-huh.
like giving attention to the physical and the mental and the psychological.
So
But
you were saying, so what I'm
yeah,
hearing is that you kind of, it was kind of belief system that you ascribed to. Is that kind of what happened?
it's a good way to put it. That it was a belief because it's mind activity, and all mind activity requires belief
Mm,
and creates the believer,
mm,
the
mm,
me, the person.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm a believer, right?
right, right,
And I'm looking, I, the believer, am looking for something to believe in.
right.
And there's the doubt that comes in. Like, I'm looking for something I can believe in. That's a fabulous song uh,
Yeah.
in the day.
So, so, so what happened that you stopped doing that? Like when did that, I guess, so what I'm hearing is for decades, you kind of took the five senses or the six senses, including the mind, as kind of what you should be conscious of, or that you should be intentional about everything, or is that kind of like what I'm hearing?
Yes, that was, and there was a difference. You could feel a difference in the experience. the
Uh-huh.
quality of your experience
Hmm.
uh, had more detail in it.
Mm.
Um, there was something even akin to love, akin to loving, and there was a friendship and a fellowship within the group that I was in,
Hmm.
the community, that was really beautiful in
Mm.
its interned we and mine and my there was a security in being part of something bigger.
Yeah, no, there is always, right? That's kind of a big part of security is being part of something bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's safety in numbers, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. And so that's, you know, the living with the facts requires the abandonment of that need, that fear, and that desire, which go together, desires and fears,
hmm.
um, to be secure. When you live in an aware relationship, if you will, I'll call it that. It's
Hmm.
not a relationship in a terms of an object, a me and a you.
Hmm.
There's no relationship there really. There is something that we use to accommodate and get on in society, and function.
Hmm.
Um, but aware living is a it's kind of lonely. That
Mm.
is, it has an aloneness to it that's um, not requiring any support whatsoever.
Mm.
There's no, there's a full resting in awareness.
Mm. And this is
Not,
so what I'm
yeah,
hearing. So you
yeah,
shifted into that at some
yes,
point?
yes. So I can I can actually put a little timeline on that, which is,
Okay.
again, when I do, it isn't the thing itself,
Right.
because the experience that brought that recognition about directly wasn't an experience.
Uh-huh.
It never happened because it was timeless.
Right.
But after it happened, I the mind makes a memory out of it, the tongue makes a thing out of it,
Right.
an experience is recorded, and it seems to have validity in the world of time and space.
Mm.
But it was and is not and never will be limited
Mm.
to that world of perception.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, of course. So, but what
Yeah,
happened, there was sort of so there was kind of an identity centered around being conscious. Is that
yeah,
kind of sort of
yes, accelerated identity, a special one, and
like a
the
spiritual ego, kind of?
spiritual ego, exactly. And a powerful
Interesting.
one with lots of efforts to become, right?
Mm.
The principle was, if I make efforts to be present, I will become awake
Okay.
in time. So that
Okay. Yeah.
chain of time,
Right.
uh, and time and effort was abandoned.
Mm.
And it was abandoned. It isn't something that, in my case, you any you could do over time, because that was all what I was doing,
Right.
was achieving, becoming in my mind.
Right.
Uh, and my teacher's teaching was about that, right?
That
And
one day you'll wake up.
yeah, we were all supporting each other in these in this direction. And really, and we had a classic education and fabulous. We had an orchestra. We had the Bolshoi come and dance at
You even
our.
had an orchestra. Yeah.
Yeah, we had our own orchestra. I sang in the choir for a bit. Uh, it had a life, and a very elegant one, with lots of European tours of museums and galleries. And I lived in Europe for 8 years and
Wow.
traveled with as part of that, and was actually a kind of a traveling teacher on some occasions.
Oh,
Within that,
structure.
within that, I'll call it headspace. So it
But
was
it was kind of a spiritual community that you were a part
it
of.
was a spiritual community. Yeah.
Interesting. And so what I'm hearing is sort of you've kind of come to a new conclusion about, or conclusion, you've kind of broken out of that on one, um, perhaps an existential level, that you kind of something is seeing that that's not it, or it might facilitate something, but it's not it, sort of. Is that what
Yes.
I'm hearing? Okay.
Yes. Yes. And what was it truly, it's a revelation,
Hmm.
revelation.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you can do to achieve what you already are.
Right. Yeah.
But I didn't
No.
know that. I didn't know that. You see, it wasn't our, we were off achieving,
Mm,
becoming. Uh,
mm,
and so if that's your MO, modus operandi, you're locked into that as long as you believe that that's going to get you something. The spiritual ego is
right.
going to achieve something that's, you know, wonderful, special, and worth all the efforts. And I frankly, I spent a lot of money on it too,
Mm,
over 22 years. But I did have a wonderful life. It suited me in many, many ways in terms of the arts and the humanities and the people in it. And there were many, well-educated professionals and
mm,
well-traveled people. And um, it gave me a lifestyle that I would not have had from my original working class uh, birth and life timeline if I'd have stayed in London, Ontario,
mm.
Canada for that 8 years. It just broadened me extensively, and I really recommend for anybody some kind of travel because it does expand our world in many ways.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah, that's interesting. So you were part of this group. At some point, you had some sort of, was it a realization or an experience or beyond experience, something that was like, oh, this is all the above?
All of the above, all of the above. Yes. Yes. So I left this esoteric school in um, 2006. And Al and I had a property up in the Sierras in Northern California. And we were more and more drifting away from the base and the belief and just sort of abandoning
Hmm.
ship
The
by
kind of
going to
the
San
kind of
Francisco.
it's kind of a mental structure, or kind of a system of thought, is that?
Oh, a whole system, yes. Like it was a cult. I never
Oh.
saw it that way when I
Mm,
was in it.
hmm.
But in hindsight, it had all the earmarks of a
Mm,
cult.
mm,
Um, so what happened is we got a little pied a terre in San Francisco, actually in Berkeley, and it was about an hour and a half drive or 2 hour drive from where we lived in the Sierras, and we started to spend more and more time there and just playing. We had some friends who were also on their way out,
Mm,
but we weren't even necessarily recognizing it as a we it was happening, but we didn't know where we were going to go
hmm
from the shelter and whatever of a long, pretty deep personal relationship um, within the fellowship.
mm,
So we spent a lot more time, and I happened across uh, well, I won't name a whole bunch of names, but a couple of non-dual teachers
hmm
um, that were very available, and we had them over for lunch, and we talked to them in our little apartment,
mm,
and we went for walks, and it was all very curious and I was still abandoning in the process of abandoning what I had understood so deeply and profoundly.
mm.
Uh, and
So,
yep,
so there was some point at which you had was it a moment that kind of
yes,
there was
yeah,
a
I'm
moment.
getting to that.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I don't
So
mean to. Yes.
okay.
So for about a year, there was some stirring going on
Uh-huh.
while we lived in Berkeley. And one day, two friends said that a guy named Ajashanti was going to be speaking at Lake Merritt, a church on Lake Merritt
Mm,
in Oakland. And, maybe we could go, or maybe we just go and do some shopping because somebody wanted to do some shopping. There was another couple and Ella and myself,
mm,
the four of us. But anyway, we decided to maybe go shopping after, but let's go hear Ajashanti.
hmm
That was life changing, not that moment in terms of so, but what happened is I was struck by one of the things that I'm sitting near the front and I'm very curious, and this little bald headed, young, handsome looking Zen guy walks onto the platform and sits down and closes his eyes and says, um, we will have a short meditation. And he just closes his eyes and everybody enters into quote meditation, which is a beautiful thing. I had never in all my spiritual life had any hint or movement in the direction of meditation.
Whoa.
Right. I had in the St. Francis Christian way been involved in what we'll call contemplation,
Mm, mm,
which for me at that level of my understanding was contemplating and savoring what St. Francis said or what the Greeks said, the ancients, and I won't get into that. That's a whole different
hmm
world, but the world of contemplation was all I had really done. And he introduced me in an instant to this novel, beautiful, serene, quiet moment of just sitting
mm. Wow.
without speaking or thinking or just, and it was a satsang. So there was this collective energy of
Yeah.
meditation, which I had never been exposed to. So
Whoa.
that was very transformative in an initial way. Like, oh my goodness, there's something here and something beautiful, and I'm enjoying it, and I don't have a clue what it is.
Mm,
So there followed a number of satsangs, maybe for the next 2 or 3 months. at one of them, toward the end of that period, in 2006, to give it a date or a year, Aja was speaking, and he said, and he seemed to be, I'm sitting up front and I'm keen as ever to learn to, uh, and he didn't say it to me as a person, but I heard him speaking to me, looking at me
Mm-hmm.
directly and saying, "You are not your body."
Mm.
And it just, it was heard. It was
Mm.
listened to. It was heard, and it was taken in a deep, profound way. Oh my God. Not oh my God, but oh my God. I'm not I'm not the body. Oh my God.
Mm.
And that was a big shock.
Mm.
Sometime in that same meeting, satsang, maybe, 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, he again, I felt it straight from from the source, that he looked at me and he said, "And you are not your mind."
Mm.
And I was
Wow.
already like rocked by the not being my body, you know,
Right.
WTF, right? As they
Yeah.
say all now, like they never did when I was growing up. Um, and when he said, "You are not the mind," I think he said the mind rather than your mind,
Mm-hmm.
because I've come to recognize there's a difference there in the wording and in the fact, which we can talk about. But um, that, and this is doesn't happen for everybody, or maybe I don't know anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I've read some others that have recorded this kind of thing too. So, but I've not ever met anybody who's had this particular kind of dynamic experience. But the recognition or the realization struck like lightning,
Mm.
literally, physically, like light went from above through the body
Mm.
and rocked me.
Wow.
It was just an amazing shock to
Wow.
recognize. And my sense of that is that maybe it was so powerful because I was so invested in being my mind,
Right. And well,
in
I
the identity of being the mind, being me. The body was hard enough, but then not even, what I think I am.
right, but I feel like you had years of what I might call earnest seeking, right? And I think that's
Very,
yeah, and I think that that made you primed kind of for it. You were kind of rubber band all the way back.
yeah, yeah. I, I think, and again, I only speak from my own experience,
Right.
and there's different others that I know of and have heard of, and some I've met, Rupert Spira, et cetera, that seem to still sort of, and I I'm not quoting anybody or not, I'm just saying is there still can be the feeling that with practices, one can wake up,
Mm.
achieve
Mm-hmm.
awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And while there's some background there, and my personal background was earnest and weepingly so at points, Um, it's not necessary.
Yeah. I would totally agree. I don't think there's anything
It's
that
just not
is
necessary.
necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What is necessary is the recognition that what you already are. In
And you've
fact,
always been, yeah, yeah,
and always been. And there's never all of that roundabout travel, and that was the mind and the feelings and the conditioning. Your
right,
conditioning, our cultural conditioning is immensely powerful.
right.
We're totally conditioned as conscious um, people, as a conscious person. I am totally conditioned
Mm,
by my culture, by my individual upbringing, by my education, by my parental, by my peers,
yeah,
all the experiences in my life. All of those are conditioned filters, or filters that provide an established, politically correct uh, way of being and relating in the world.
right, right.
Totally spin it. Totally spin it. And
Yeah,
if I'd have been born in India, I'd have had a whole nother set of conditioning
right.
and beliefs.
I have to open this window real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like conditioning is, well, innate to the human. And if you have negative conditioning, it can be a real challenge to let go of that. Like,
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, conditioning is functionally necessary,
right,
um, just to live the human life, to have your human relationships, to put food, clothing, and shelter in
yeah,
your life, right? So it's not that it isn't very, very functionally relevant,
mm,
but where the conditioning is irrelevant, but is immensely powerful beyond that, is psychological conditioning,
mm,
the psychology. That's the basis of desires, what what your community is conditioned to desire, and fears, what your community, what your world that you project is conditioned to be afraid of or to fear.
correct.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So you're operating in that, I'll say, fog, the fog of conditioning,
yeah,
and thinking that noble thoughts and grand gestures and beautiful exchanges of some psychological or mental beliefs that you deeply know and you think you know,
right. Yeah, you think,
right? Belief has that sense of knowing.
right,
Uh,
right.
Much of us are, but if we can see beyond our knowing, we have to see our believing.
Right.
And because, in fact, there's no need for any kind of belief to function well and truly in life.
Yeah, I guess not. Yes. Belief is not a necessary for
No.
functioning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I don't have any. I say I don't. The person, James, is a structure of beliefs.
right.
And so
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
if
A
I'm
structure of
functioning
conditioning and
right, if I go to a dinner with a group of people and I'm meeting as James meeting, you know, Bill and Sally and Harry and Judy and whatever,
mhm.
uh, then one just kind of moves with that, from that
Yeah.
place of functioning well,
Right.
if not truly,
Right.
but functioning well, and sharing stories about a past that doesn't exist, and a future that also doesn't exist.
Right.
But you could say pretending, but it's almost compassionate too, because it's just to the word compassion means to suffer with, calm
Mm,
with,
mm,
passion. It means to really relate. And part of relating to the world in general is the act of compassion,
mm.
of meeting the experience of the moment in a sincere, yes, in a sincere way.
And you're kind of meeting, I feel like I'm constantly, I mean, the real compassionate thing is to meet somebody in their current beliefs, you know? It's like, oh, this is, I mean, it's not just living in, oh, that's not real. What you're
Yeah,
believing is fake. I mean, it's only consciousness. I've seen that happen before, in people that I've known that went in that direction a little bit, and it felt like I could sense that this that's not quite right. Something's not quite right there because it I feel like to align with true being, it has an innate there's just an innate flow to it that doesn't have a hard and fast rule about there is no person. You know, it's not like that turns into a belief system really quickly. And
yeah,
it's not interested in just telling everybody that. It is interested in kind of it's just serving the whole, I guess is my sense of it. It's just like what's good for this person, what's good for those people, what's good for everyone. And it's like endlessly, if I had to put it, it's almost as if it's constantly it's just like a water is having little rivulets. Like I don't know, just downstream. It's going downstream. It's going towards the ocean. It's bringing
yes,
everything into harmony. It's bringing everything into greater fullness and greater expression and greater fulfillment. And that's its endless goal. And it's fun, you know. It's
yeah,
no part of
yeah.
it's not fun. It's not like, well, one day when we get there, we'll find true fulfillment. But it's like yeah, it's an endless it's constantly reworking things and like tenderizing my mind. You know, it's like
Yes, what I forget now who said it because I'm forgetting names. And as we talked about earlier, I tend to have less and less memory because I don't maintain it like I
mm,
used to.
mm-hmm,
So if it's not maintained, it just fades.
mm,
If you're not going into the past and talking about the past, it's like the wake on the back of a boat. It fades quicker off the back
mm,
into the ocean of reality.
mm,
Reality doesn't have any memory. Uh,
mm,
there's no history in there's no time in reality.
mm,
Um, that's a time is an invention of the mind, and it's a time space body mind beautiful experiencing
mm,
of the human condition.
mm, mm, mm,
Yeah.